about the flow of the foreign direct investments into the emerging markets. And for this keynote speech and a presentation, I would kindly invite to the stage Mr. Karul Jain, Honorary Director at UAE BRICS Chamber of Commerce, Founder and Managing Director, working as well at Dubai Institute of Gemology, Arab Design World LSC, and World Academy of Design. Please give him a big hand. He has a lot of interesting information for you to share in terms of. Please put your hands together for Mr. Karul Jain.
Very good evening. First of all, I would like to thank His Highness Sheikh Mohammad bin Ahmed bin Hamdan Al Nahyan for giving his kind patronage for this event. Thanks to His Excellency Ahmed Al Mutawi for his kind presence, and Ambassador Mr. Sandeep Mehta for organizing this unique event. I am not going to give you the numbers and the information about all the questions we have, about all the problems we have heard all day. My expertise is solutions, innovation, and I will give purely few solutions to the issues how BRICS Chamber of Commerce has succeeded in getting the foreign direct investment in the BRICS nations. What is the power of team? As Her Excellency Ms. Laila has emphasized, it's not I, it's we. So ladies and gentlemen, all speakers and listeners in the room, we are today here to conclude some strong solutions to make each other's investment successful. I will be talking specifically on BRICS countries, role of BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industries in the developing economies, and how BRICS nations have succeeded in emerging as most favored destinations for FDI. What is BRICS? First of all, let me give you, this will be just a quick 8 to 9 minutes presentation. I would like your attention. The BRICS is a group of 5 nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It was formed in 2009. It consists of 5 biggest economies of the world, excluding the US. Apart from US, the 5 biggest economies of the world, which has 42% of the world population, almost 3.2 billion. And by 2050, this population will go to 3.5 billion. Why this is important, we'll take it in the next slide. And 27% of the world land area is covered by these 5 economies. 25% of the world GDP is coming from these 5 economies, and 18% of the global trade. See how important this organization has become. Main targets of area of development for BRICS nations is science, technology, trade promotion, energy, health, education, innovation, and most importantly, fighting against transnational crime. Recently, the 13th BRICS summit happened where Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, chaired the summit. Here, I would also like to mention, apart from these 5 nations, UAE has really emerged the brightest emerging nation in the world and the fastest growing economies. What are the determinants? What is the reason for success of these 5 BRICS nations? All these 5 nations are rich in natural resources and have high population of consumer market. A seller needs a buyer and a buyer needs a seller. If you want to invite somebody to invest the money, you have to tell him, I have the customer also. And this is the biggest reason why BRICS countries have succeeded. All these 5 countries are rich in natural resources and have high population of consumer market and flexible, abundant labor as well. Cheap labor will invite manufacturing. These 5 developing countries have been a favorite destination for FDI over the decade, and they strengthen the trust of the investors. Even after the hit of pandemic, you will be surprised to know that after the hit of pandemic, the GDP has grown for BRICS nations. The 5 main reasons: stable macroeconomic conditions, high GDP growth rate, advanced infrastructural level, low labor cost, and centralized finance support by NDA. NDA is actually, it started as BRICS Development Bank. Then it is converted into the name of National Development Bank. And countries have contributed huge funds to fund this bank. And this bank helps developing not only in BRICS, but the message is BRICS and beyond. And now, in October 2021, United Arab Emirates has also joined the National Development Bank. Now this investment which is coming in to these 5 nations, they are investing, it's not just incoming, I will tell you the outgoing numbers also. 55% of the volume which is incoming is invested by the BRICS nations outside their country. So they are also investing back and highly investing into the infrastructure, manufacturing industries, education, healthcare, housing, tourism, considering the strong inflow of FDI. This results in increased GDP of these nations and growth of import, export, trade, increasing local employment rate, and obviously the wealth of the nation. That's the target for FDI. BRICS Development Bank is one of the biggest examples of the support developed by BRICS nations, and by 2050, the combined income of BRICS nations may exceed combined income of all developed countries across the world. That's the power of we. Let me tell you about BRICS Chamber of Commerce, which I represent in UAE. BRICS Chamber of Commerce is another part of BRICS, and it's a not-for-profit, non-governmental body in India, headquartered in India, recognized by United Nations and Government of India, of course. It is called the Voice of Entrepreneurs. The young entrepreneurs, the women entrepreneurs, the startups, the MSMEs, and the cross-country support beyond BRICS nations. The Chamber extends technical and HR support to countries, the member countries, the member companies by facilitating trade connections and knowledge to the entrepreneurs of that country. The main functions of the Chamber are providing necessary support to MSMEs, encourage extensive participation of young entrepreneurs, providing a collaborative environment to enhance trade and commerce. They connect, they organize events, cultural events, trade events, all these not only in these 5 nations. Apart from that, many countries we organize the trade promotion and give facilities to all the members. In short, BRICS Chamber of Commerce provide the world with a platform of experimental learning through social and technological exchanges. BRICS CCI is also focused on energy security, education and human resources, digital economy and agribusinesses. And a small short message from the BRICS Chamber of Commerce is FAST, is fast. So first is focused in white, A is attractive offers to the investors, S is supportive policies, and T is the promising technology. If these 4 points measures are taken, there will be definitely a great foreign direct investment. I will come to the points now for post-pandemic strategy. There will be experts in the panel. After my speaking, they will be taking up these points. I would like to give this message from the BRICS Chamber of Commerce. All investors need assurance of intellectual property rights. To invite investors, we need to make sure that IP rights will be honored. Flexible and easy trade policies, we all know that's very important, and it is supportive for the investors to decide to invest in a country. The easier the policies, the more will be the business. Vast variety of sectors should be open and available for investors from across the world to invite a variety of FDI, and it will help in completing an ecosystem. If I am a country, I decide I want foreign direct investment, I should not just say anybody should come here, policies are easy, living is cheap, customers are there. No, I must analyze what is the requirement of my country. What sector is missing from my manufacturing? What sectors are missing where I will need investment? And I should specifically advertise and invite people from the particular region for that particular category. That will also not only bring the investment into my country, but that will also complete my ecosystem. The easier it is to take out money for the investor, the easier it will be to get more investors. Entry and exit has to be easy for the investor. Of course, keeping in mind the rules and regulations and the AML policies. Investors will be more loyal to the market where they see availability of customers. The best example is Expo 2020. We have thousands and thousands of sellers, but millions of buyers. The incoming flights are full, airports are packed. Why next year anybody will not come to Dubai to exhibit? This has been the winning point for our country. The best strategy to invite FDI should be to invite the selected investor so that I can complete the ecosystem of the country. The key point here is, if you say anybody and everybody, it means nobody. This applies to the business also. When you are advertising, when you are inviting somebody, if you say everybody and anybody, it means nobody. You have to be specific. If you want medical experts, health experts, you should invite doctors. We have seen this and it was successful. Invite doctors, invite engineers. So specifically, if you give invitation, the investors will definitely come. The legal, official and political communications should be clear and easy to access. The digital world of technology is easy as well as confusing. So it has to be very strategically planned so that the buyer, the seller should be easy to register, they can start their business. And lastly, the appointing of a local trade body. Getting the local investor, you should partner with local body like BRICS Chamber of Commerce, like VFS. VFS is the best example. Why VFS, Visa Facilitation Service, is so popular now? Why every embassy is now dependent on VFS? Because as a country, I don't have local access to the people. I don't know the local policies. I don't know the regulations and rules. So I take help of VFS because they understand what is required locally. They will filter and then provide the information to me. Similarly, to find investors, we need to participate, partner with the local bodies, and they will filter and bring in the business to us. Lastly, I would say the 5 nations of BRICS economies gain importance to the global trade. The international community will increasingly look to the BRICS nations to stabilize the world's economic system. And most importantly, it is predicted that not only these 5 economies, but UAE will also lead the future FDI recovery. Thank you very much.